What am I doing? Did it again, didn't I, guys? I'm trying to read your comments. Hope that didn't make some of you jump. Hi, Jack and Liam. Hello. Hi, Dora. Hi. Sorry about that. It's because I haven't got a watch on here. I haven't got my phone in and I can't see what time it is on my iPad, so I was frantically trying to scroll. But if I'm late, sorry. If I'm early, brill. Right, so your challenge question to start is, can you have a go at multiplying these fractions? It's a bit dark in here. I'm going to put the light on. Bit dark, bit dark. Close those. Okay. Hi, Lauren James. Yeah, East Yorkshire. Hello. Welcome to any of you that are new. I promise I don't turn the camera like that normally. Just a little technical. Hi, Nawa. Welcome back. Hello. Okay. Let's see if we get any answers. I know it's quite unusual for me to throw a question at you that I haven't taught. So if you're not sure about this, or if you haven't seen this before, don't panic. It's not something we did last week. You will see why. Hi, Santino. Hello. Okay, so multiplying fractions. I teach this a lot in my own tuition, and I almost find it quite funny how confused children get about it. Mainly because when we come to adding and subtracting fractions like we did last week, if you haven't watched last week, again, you can catch up on YouTube. As we saw from when the denominators are not the same, you have to do quite a lot of work to make them the same, to make the fraction calculation work, to get the right answer. So when it comes to multiplying fractions, generally multiplying can be a bit harder than adding and subtracting. So we have to think, oh right, well what do we do now? Whereas actually it's the easiest form of calculating fractions. It's so easy. So all we have to do is the numerators, 2, 4, we times them. 2 times 4 is 8. And 3 times 6, 1, 6, 6, 2, 6, 12, 3, 6 is 18. Ta-da! Done. We'll come back in a second though. And then 3 times 2 is 6. And 5 times 8 is 40. So that's all you do. That's why I just actually wanted to show it really, really quickly. Okay? Because all you've got to do is remember, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, you've got your answer. But, again, if you were here last week, what did we practice on Thursday? Simplifying fractions. So normally, it will say, complete this calculation, give your answer in its simplest form. So even though the calculation is quite simple, you still have to think about how to make your answer. And remember, when we talk about simplifying, we're using times tables to make the numerator and denominator as small as possible. So our answer for the first one was 8/18. So 8/18. How can we make that simplified? Well, I know they're both in the 2 times table because they're both even numbers. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2. And half of 8 is 4, and half of 18 is 9. Now, there's no other times tables that have 4 and 9 in it, so that's in its simplest form. So 2/3 times by 4/6 is 4/9 in its simplest form. So for this one, my answer is 6/40. Again, I can see that they're both even. So I'm going to divide them by 2. Half of 6 is 3, and half of 4 is 20. And 20 is not in 3 times table. So there you go. So the simplest answer is 3/20. So you have a go. You have a go. Okay. Remember, try and give your answer in a simple form. You might, sometimes, by the way, you can't do it. Sometimes the answer is already in its simplest form, but you should always check. Let's go for 4/6 times by 2/10. Have a go at that. See if you can give its answer in its simplest form. Hi, Jack. two. Got two Jacks. Jack, Timothy, and Noah. I'm just reading what you've put. Can you tell us why we need to multiply or divide fractions in real life? Oh, wow. I love that question. I'm going to think of an example. What a brilliant question. You might have actually stumped me there a little bit. I'm going to have to come back to that. I'm trying to think. Now, if you've got a fraction and you divide it by a whole number, you're making that fraction smaller. So if you've got half and you divide it by 2, you're going to have a quarter left. So you could think about it as pizzas. So if you've got, we're going to be doing dividing the fractions in a second. So if you've got a half and you divide it by 2, you're going to have a quarter. If you have 3/6 and you divide it by a third, it's going to be 1/3. Dividing you really stumped me. So I love these types of questions. Sometimes as teachers, and you've seen now, this is an example, I'm teaching you something, but not always putting it in the real life context. I honestly, I'm amazed by that question, and I will come back to you with an answer. I'll do it tomorrow's. You know what? I'll put it on the page later, and I'll also re-explain it in tomorrow's lesson. But you've given me some homework today. I love that. I love that. Putting everything into a context can really, really help. Right, 2 times 4 is 8, and 6 times 10 is 60. So well done if you got 8/60ths. You knew to times the top and you knew to times the bottom. So can we simplify it? Yes, because they're both multiples of 2. They're both in the 2 times table. So half of 8 is 4, and half of 60 is 30. Now, they're both still in the 2 times table because they're both still even numbers. So I'm going to divide them by 2 again. So half of 4 is 2, and half of 30 is 15. So actually, in its simplest form, the answer is 2 over 15. Don't worry if you did it once and then went, yay, I've simplified it. You can always see now, you can check, you can do it more than once. Fantastic. Right, so that's how you multiply fractions. Dividing fractions is today's lesson. And I mean, like I say, with that question that I was asked, this is what I'm going to teach you in a minute is something I've been taught by somebody else, okay? So different schools do this in different ways, and different schools and different teachers come up with different methods, and I adopted one from another school and their teacher. So if you've got the sheet for today's lesson, have it ready. If you haven't, if you don't know what it is, don't worry, everything's still going on the board, okay? So the first question is 2/3 divided by 1/5. 2/3 divided by 1/5. Okay. And the method that I've been taught, basically, you can't divide fractions. Just remember that. You cannot divide fractions. In this calculation, you will not end up dividing them. Your answer will be from a division question, but you do not actually divide. So try and keep that in your head, and that'll help you go, oh yeah, that's what you do. Okay. So what we do, and I'm going to say it's called the KFC method. If you know it, you're like, yay, brilliant. Okay, KFC method. If you don't know it, try and remember this. So KFC, we've got K. Now we don't put it in the order. We put F, C. So it's KCF, but we still remember the 3 letters can really help us. And what does that stand for? So in KFC, it stands for keep, flip, and change. Keep, again, some actually use a slightly different one for C. Okay, I've seen the word correct being used instead, but everyone does it differently. So KFC. So, keep. I keep changing pens because I want to make it as clear as possible. So for the 2/3, you keep it. It's still going to be 2/3 in the question. Okay? When it says flip, that means that fraction there is going to turn around. Okay? And change the middle one. We're going to change it from division into its opposite number, multiplication. Okay? So we don't divide fractions. If we ever are asked to divide fractions, we actually multiply them using the Kfc method. KFC. Okay? And now we know how to multiply fractions, so we just carry on. 2 times 5 is 10, and 1 times 3. So most of the time you will get an improper fraction as your answer. Okay? I'm not going to actually show you how to change them today because that's tomorrow's lesson. Okay, so I'm not going to say, right, put your answer as a mixed number, put your answer as an improper fraction. I'm going to focus on this skill, and then some of you will know tomorrow's lesson is how to convert improper fractions into mixed number fractions and vice versa. So, let's have another go. Okay. What's question 2? Let's have a look. So question 2 is 3/8 divided by 2/7. Okay, so we use our method just to help us. Right, we're going to keep the 3/8 the same, because remember, it's K. Now we jump across, because remember it's KCF, but we try and remember it because we've heard of KFC. So we flip the second fraction to 7/2, and we change it from division into multiplication. And 3 times 7 is 21, and 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so there is your answer. Okay, right, it's your turn now. So I'll keep that up there, and keep, flip, change. Let's have a look. So here are your 2 questions. 3/2 divided by 4/9. And your second question is 2/7 divided by 5/3. Have a go at those. Hi, watching for George today who cannot get out of bed. Oh, bless him. Oh, well, yeah, you know, it always goes up on YouTube afterwards and stays on the page, so don't worry, George. Sometimes we all need a lion. Oh, we've got some answers. Dora's got an answer. Oh, got some more answers. Well done. Okay, let's have a see. So, keep, flip, change. So we're going to keep 3/2. Although I always like rewriting it so I can see the question really clearly. So I'm not just doing this for your benefit, I always do this. So I'm going to change it to multiplication. A 9/4. So 9 3s are 27. And 2 4s are 8. So 27/8 is your answer for that one. Okay. And for the next one, so 2/7. So it'll be keep, flip, 3/5, and I changed it to multiply. So 2 times 3 is 6, And 7 times 5 is 35. Okay, oh, there's an example of where actually it's not an improper fraction, it's a proper fraction. So 6 over 35. Try 2 more. Okay, so the last 2, we've got 5 over 8 divided by 3/7. And we've got 1/6 divided by 4/15. Right, have we got those 2? Oh yeah, and those of you who have the Patreon sheet, this is where it's from Patreon, you'll notice there's a little poem at the top as well. So if you don't know the KFC method, you might know. Dividing fractions as easy as pi, flip the second fraction, then multiply. And don't forget to simplify before it's time to say goodbye. So that's a nice little, if you remember, a little song for it. Again, I'm not looking for to simplify today, I'm just focusing on the skill and remembering it, because we get simplifying. So, right. 5/8. So 5/8 times by, flip it around. So 5/7, 35. Okay. 8 3s, 1 8 is 8, 2 8 16, 3 8s are 24. So 35 over 24. Okay. 1 6 stays the same. Multiply, twist them around. 15 over 4, which equals 15 over 24. There you go. Right. That's not all the kind of multiplying and dividing that you could do. Where's my sheet gone? There it is. So you could get a question like this. 1/5 divided by 6. Now, I've already said that you can't divide fractions, okay? Another rule is you can also not divide fractions by just a number. You can't divide a fraction by a whole number. So you're probably thinking, Steph, why have you given us a question that is division and has a whole number? Because you can only multiply and divide fractions by other fractions. So what we have to do is change the number 6 into a fraction. And to do that, think of it, when we talk about fractions, we're talking about less than a whole. Now 6 is clearly a whole number. How many wholes? It's 6 wholes. So what you do, after we make it into a fraction, we're going to put the line and make it the numerator, and underneath we put 1, okay? Because it's 6 lots of 1. 6 is 6 lots of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So now you've made that question into a fraction divided by another fraction. And then we know to do KFC, so we keep 1/5, and then we times it, flip it around by 1/6. So 1 times 1 is 1. Okay? And 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, so with that question, I know this one, so for example, if you had 1/5 of a pizza left, so if your pizza had been split into 5 parts, oh, this is going to be fun, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and say all of this had been eaten, and there was just 1/5 left, and you needed to divide that by another 6 people. So you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each slice is 1/30. Okay? Because if you did the same with the whole pizza, if you split this into 6, and then this into 6, and then this into 6, and this into 6, there will be 30 parts. Okay? So that's what that means in that sense. Okay? So I'll show you another one. Let's do 4 nights divided by 8. 4 nights divided by 8. So remember, you can't divide a fraction by a whole number. So we make it not just 8, but 8 ones, which is still 8. And then we do KFC. So we keep 4 nights, we change it to multiply, and we flip the second one to 1/8. And 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, and 9 times 8 is 72. And we could simplify that fraction, but again, just focusing on the calculation for this one. Okay. Right, your turn. So the next 2 questions. 5 ninths divided by 4 and 7 ninths. Oh, that's a terrible 7. 7 ninths divided by 10. Have a go at those 2. Have a go. Okay, got some answers. So, you can put them both over 1 to start. Okay, and then we do KFC. So it'll be 5 ninths times by a quarter. So 1 times 5 is 5. And 9 times 4 is 36. And again, so with this one, keep. Okay, flip, change. So 1 times 7 is 7, and 9 times 10 is 92. Okay. Got last 2. Got 3/10 divided by 8. And we've got 5/11 divided by 3. Okay, there's your last 2 questions for today's lesson. Wow, Dora's got super quick answers today. Let's have a look. So put them both over 1. Let's do KFC. So 3/10 times by 1 over 8. So 1 times 3 is 3. 10 times 8 is 80. That's the first bit. And then this one, 5 over 11 times by, flip the second one, 1 over 3. And 1 times 5 is 5. And 11 times 3 is 33. There you go. So in this lesson, not only we did multiplying fractions at the start, and we've learned how to divide fractions in the sense that you don't divide fractions, you need to change them using, well, I use the Kfc method, you might have your own method, into multiplication. Right, tomorrow I will see you for mixed and improper fractions. Really important lesson. Starts in year 5 of the curriculum, used a lot in year 6. You're expected to, when you do questions like this, not only simplify it, but sometimes you're asked to convert them between a mixed and improper fraction and vice versa. So first of all, we'll look at what they are and then how to change them. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye bye.